Jeez, talk about a mind of its own. Damn tablet. Not to drive you crazy. From the WDWL TV Multiplex, live from Studio G, we proudly present the pride of the station, the Two Grumpies, starring the grumpy old man, me, and the grumpy vulture. Take your bow. Oh, very nice, very nice. Vanilla? Again with the vanilla? You're losing it, Bird. You're losing it. Go back in your corner now. Oh, the camera will see you there, right there. Greetings, friends. It was an interesting day today. Well, I should say it was a high-speed day today, with Grumpy totally enjoying his new 1 gig service. Let's bump the light up here one more notch here. Plus. There we go. Then I had to go up to the store. Grumpy needed, don't tell my oncologist, cigarettes. Oh, I'm dreading the end of the month. Oh, Jesus. I have my appointment with him. And I'm going to catch all kinds of hell because he wanted me to cut down to 5 cigarettes a day. I says, Doc, I've been smoking since I was 15. There is no way in hell I can cut down to 5 cigarettes a day. I says, how about 10? He says, how about 5? And we went back and forth. And then finally, my appointment was over, and I was like, phew, time to get the fuck out of here. So, I am not looking forward to the end of the month. So I go up to my favorite little mom and pop grocery store, the one that's owned by the 2 Indian brothers, which, matter of fact, the brothers, their wives, and their kids are all a riot. I just love going in that store because you get a nice, warm greeting, and they really show that they appreciate your business. Now, I had mentioned this once before. I don't have an e-brake on the shit box. So, there is one parking space real close to the sidewalk. And they have those concrete parking barriers. So what I do is I pull in and I angle the truck so that the left front tire is up against this parking barrier, so I can leave it run in this weather. There is one customer who comes in daily who thinks he owns that parking space. He doesn't rent it. He has no interest in ownership of the store, but he thinks he owns that parking space. And God forbid anybody parks there. It's a fucking parking space. So I angle in and I got the truck running, got the heater going, because I don't drive that much in this weather. So I want to, warm the truck up, circulate all the fluids, so I leave it run. It's got the best anti-theft system on earth. It's a manual transmission. I'm not worried about somebody stealing the son of a bitch. So I park, I go in, and whenever they get something new, they'll always tell me. So he says, I know you like goodies. He's like, oh, yeah. Grumpy lives for goodies. He says, we have a new bakery. And all their product is in the back on the top shelf. He's like, okay. So I'm back. I'm looking over all the products. And I spot this box of cream-filled horns. I love cream-filled horns. So I grab a box. As I'm starting up the aisle to the cash register, I hear, what asshole is in my parking space? Oh, Grumpy knows who just entered the store. I call him Richard Cranium, also known as Dick Head. Now, he's about the same age as I am. Richard Cranium has been around for eons. He don't get it. I've called him Richard Cranium many times, and he always tells me, my name's not Richard. Well then, I guess your name is Dick. And your last name is Head. So, he comes in. Who's the asshole in my parking space? The brother that's at the cash register gets a big grin on his face because he knows it's coming, because you don't fuck with Grumpy. So I walk up to the register, and he's pacing, looking around. Who's in my space? Who's in my space? I said, hi, Richard. He said, my name's not Richard. I says, oh, okay. Hi, Dick. Well, my name's not Dick. Yes, it is. Your name is Dick Head. And I'm in your space. I'm going to take you outside and kick your ass. Now, the brother that's behind the counter knows what's coming because you don't fuck with Grumpy. So I says to him, excuse me? He said, you heard me. I'm going to take you outside and kick your ass. I says, really? He says, yeah, really. I says, well, let me give you a suggestion before you take me outside. You better pack a fucking lunch because it's going to be an all-day job. Got it? He goes, oh, Mr. Tough Guy, huh? I said, what is your fucking problem? You're in my space. So I can never remember their Indian names. So I turned and I said, oh, do you have a new investor in your business? And he goes, no, just me and my brother. I said, oh. And I turned to Dickhead and I said, well, you heard it. You don't own any percentage of this store. So it's not your fucking parking space. I look outside because I decided I'll go outside, let him make his lottery ticket purchase, and maybe come back later. Well, Mr. Dickhead is parked right behind the shitbox. Now, he owns a Jeep with a manual transmission. I was really tempted to kick that son of a bitch in neutral and let it roll out into the street. Because he's got those, I call them fake doors. He's got the canvas door with the plastic, the Jeeps that you take the top off and everything. And I decided, no, be my luck, it'd roll out in the street, cause a big accident. So, I did one better. I opened the door, and I shoveled this shitload of snow onto his seat. And then I closed the door. I walked back in the store. He had finished making his lottery ticket purchase. He turns to me and he goes, you're lucky right now that I don't feel like kicking your ass. I said, well, I appreciate it. Although, you would have to pack a lunch because it'd be an all-day fucking job, dickhead. My name's not Dick. I said, yes, it is. So he goes out, and I see him getting ready to get in the Jeep. Now, he isn't paying attention. He gets in, he sits down, and suddenly realizes the seat is covered with snow. Oh. So I figured, any minute now, he's going to be back in the store with another invitation to join him in the parking lot. No. The fucking sissy left, sitting in a seat full of snow. Oh. So while I was making my purchase, I told the one brother, I said, when I walked outside, you won't believe what I did. He says, what's that? I says, I shoveled a shitload of snow on his front seat. And he didn't pay any attention. And when he got in his Jeep, he sat in it. Oh, my God. He laughed. His brother laughed. The two wives laughed. I think the little kids were laughing. I said, you really did that? I said, oh, yes. You don't fuck with Grumpy. Although, when I exited the store, I did check to see if maybe he reciprocated and threw snow in the shitbox. No, he didn't. This asshole and I have had more verbal altercations, and he's always threatening to take me outside and kick my ass. It's never happened. Matter of fact, the one day I walked outside with him, he turns around, he goes, "What are you doing out here?" I said, "Well, you're going to kick my ass. Here I am." "Oh, you're lucky I don't feel like it." He's a big fucking blowhard, is what he is. And I deliberately park in that space because it's the only space where the parking lot is on enough of a slant where I can nudge my left front wheel up against it and leave the truck running. I only do this in the winter because I know any other time all I'm going to do is aggravate the shit out of him. Not to mention, what the hell was he doing in the store at 4 o'clock? He always buys his lottery tickets like around 1. So, I don't know, maybe there's a special lottery on the weekends. I don't play. This shit has been going on for like 3 years now. He thinks he owns that parking space. And if somebody is parked there, he'll do the same thing. He'll storm in the store at the top of his lungs. "Who's in my fucking parking space?" Well, one day, he comes storming in the store and running his mouth. Who's the asshole that's in my parking space? Well, it just so happened to be the one brother's wife. And she spoke up and she said, "I'm parked there. That's my car." Her husband, the other brother, you wouldn't think they're brothers. One is tall, burly, lot of hair. The other one is a little short, pipsqueak, partially bald. He told it. He said, I would appreciate if you would take your business elsewhere. Well, Dick Head threw a fit. "I'm not going to go across the street and play a lottery. That guy's an asshole." I really wanted to start some shit and say, "Well, evidently you two are brothers. You're an asshole. He's an asshole." I didn't feel like getting into an altercation with Dick Head. But this guy is unbelievable. He happens to live a couple of blocks away from me. I know a few of the people that live around him. None of his neighbors speak to him. He has caused fights with every single neighbor in the area around his property. He lives alone. I don't know if he's got family. But I hate to say it, but in a way, Grumpy about that much feels sorry for him. Because I'm sure if he has alienated all of his neighbors, he has probably alienated all of his family. And it is sad that you have no family or friends in your senior years. Like I say, I'm estimating we got to be around the same age. To live alone and not have any family or friends, that is sad. Because I could guarantee if something would happen to him, none of his neighbors are going to notice. He could have some sort of accident in his house where he requires EMS. I don't see any of his neighbors popping up going, gee, we haven't seen Dick Head lately. No. This guy, I don't know what his problem is. But I know he has alienated everybody that lives around him. And it's easy to see why. Instead of walking in the store and saying, who owns that shit box out front? He comes storming in, Who's the asshole in my parking space? Now, the two brothers, evidently he must have made up with the one that he's back doing business there again. They evidently are afraid to say something to him. But I guarantee, if I owned that store, I would immediately inform him. The parking spaces out front are first come, first served. There are no reserved parking spaces except for the handicap spot. I don't know what it is, why he has to have that corner space. But he thinks he owns it. And this is not the first time that he's pushed my buttons. But today, Grumpy got the upper hand. Because I can guarantee when he got home, he had a nice wet ass to go along with his wet seat. Because he did not stop to brush the snow out of it. He opened the door, stepped in, sat down, started it up, and left. So, Grumpy got one up on him. I can guarantee this is not over. Although I try to avoid that store between noon and 1 o'clock, because that's when he goes in to buy his lottery tickets. I don't know how much he spends. But like I mentioned to the one brother once before, I said, is it worth possibly losing customers over this guy's attitude over a parking spot in your parking lot? Neither one of them, besides the one time he insulted the one brother's wife, they won't say anything to him. As a matter of fact, I try to shy away from saying anything to him, because if he is that mentally unstable, he might be carrying a projectile ejector. And Grumpy wouldn't look good, looking like a piece of Swiss cheese. So I tried to avoid any confrontation with him. But today, he pushed my buttons. But see, he's a big blowhard. It proved it again today. You know, I'm going to take you outside and kick your ass. Here I am. Let's go. You're lucky I don't feel like it today. Oh. What? Maybe should we make an appointment the next time, like when you're feeling 100%? You want to meet outside in the parking lot and pack a lunch? If you're going to kick my ass? Unbelievable. Just utterly unbelievable. Pardon me. But I did totally enjoy shoveling that snow onto his front seat. Yes. Yeah, it just so happened there was a small cardboard box. Somebody must have left outside the door. So I took the cardboard box, I filled it with snow, opened his Jeep door, and just went blonk, and then shut the door, and threw the box in the back of my truck. He opened the door, never looked in. Now, when I approach my truck and I open the door, I'm always looking in the interior. I look at the seat, I look at the dash. Not that I expect anything to change, but it's just force of habit. You open the door, you look in the car. Not him. He opened the door and he was looking at the store and stepped in and sat down and drove home sitting in a pile of snow. Oh. Oh my God, I laughed all the way home. I loved it. I don't think it'll ever come to anything. Although somebody is unhinged as Dick Head, you never know. So if I see him in the store, I will drive around the block or wait till he leaves. And like I say, the only time I park in that space is in the winter. Because I leave the truck running. Because I want it to warm up. Because I might not drive it for a couple of days. And I know no teenage kid in this neighborhood is going to steal it. First of all, it's a shit box. Second of all, it's a manual transmission. Kids nowadays, they don't know how to drive them. So I'm not worried. It ain't going anywhere. But yeah, that was Grumpy's afternoon delight. Mr. Dick Head. blowing smoke. Because I told him, let's go. I guarantee he'd have backed down, because he always does. Because I tell him, okay, purchase your lottery tickets, I'll meet you outside. Oh, you're lucky I don't feel like it today. If you didn't feel like it, why do you keep telling me you want to take me outside and kick my ass? You know, back up what you got to say, pal. I'm ready, willing, and able. And he's been like this for as long as I've known him. And it started like 3 years ago. I parked in that space. And it was winter. And he come in like a big blowhard. Who the fuck's in my parking space? I was like, when did you buy an interest in the store? I don't see your name on it. That was the first time he started that shit. I said to him, gee, I don't see a sign out there that says parking space owned by Dickhead. And I can remember being like 12 or 13 years old and hearing that terminology, Richard Cranium. So, has he lived a sheltered life that he doesn't? Yeah, I'll tell him, hey, yeah, okay, Richard. My name's not Richard. Okay, Dick. My name's not Dick. Well, either your name is Richard Cranium or Dick Head. It goes right over it. Clueless. Even the Indian brothers, they turn and laugh. They get it. He don't. Matter of fact, there's been a couple of times when he, come in Mr. Blowhard, and I've used that terminology, and customers, I'll see him fucking laughing. And he don't get it. He'll stand there and go, my name's not Richard. Okay, Dick. My name's not Dick. Yes, it is. It's either Richard Cranium or Dick Head. Take your pick. Because it suits him to a T. Although, I hate to say it, I would love to have his little Jeep Wrangler. I really would. Except for that canvas. First thing I would do is buy the hard shell top for it. And real doors. Not them canvas ones. I would like to find somebody else that owns one of these canvas top Jeeps and ask them, does it have like a real high output heater? Because that son of a bitch is going to be cold in the winter. Now, I've had convertibles, but the convertible top has got insulation. And you have regular, roll-up windows. But this thing, I mean, got the canvas top, plastic windows. Got them canvas door inserts. Plastic glass. And a little flap, to seal the top of the door against the canvas top. It's got to be fucking cold in the winter. Either that or they got a super high output heater. I don't know. I've never been in a Jeep Wrangler. I've been in the Cherokees and, the Grand Cherokee, but I've never been in a Jeep Wrangler. Hard top, soft top, either way. So I wouldn't know about the heating system. But I would love to have it. Because it's a manual. But I would invest in the hard cab for it. I do have to say, he does take excellent care of it. Because those things have a tendency to rust. Although I don't think he drives it much. Because he'll go up to the corner, get his lottery tickets, go home, put it in the garage. Now, if he grocery shops at the same plazas that I do, he ain't putting a lot of miles on it. But that's the only thing he's got going for him. I'd like to have his Jeep because he takes such good care of it. And because it's a manual. It's amazing he's intelligent enough to drive a stick. But yeah, he started some shit with the wrong person today. And I wasn't in any mood to take his shit. When he told me, I'd take you outside and kick your ass, I was like, okay. As soon as you're done buying your lottery tickets, I'm here. I don't feel like it today. Oh, okay. Do I get a rain check? I really wanted to ask him that. Do I get a rain check on this ass kicking? Just saying. But whatever day you decide to kick my ass, pack a lunch. It's going to be an all-day job, buddy. Grumpy don't go down easy. Even if I am old and decrepit and have no memory. Oh, damn it. I forgot the net book again today. I'm going to blame it on Dickhead. Yeah. I even charged it up. I plugged it in last night, and it's sitting on my little dorm. I got one of them dormitory refrigerators. It could pass for a nightstand. Yeah, it's a cute little thing. Little freezer. Stands about 4 foot tall, maybe 3.5. Holds, what have I got in there? 4 2-liter bottles of ginger ale. Seagram's, Grumpy's favorite. And what have I got in I call it the crisper drawer. Yeah, it's the drawer at the bottom of the fridge. Some miscellaneous stuff. Couple of cans of pop. Couple of cans of iced coffee. It holds just enough. Because I have nasty dry mouth. So I got to keep a beverage all night on my nightstand. So, like I say, I got 2 liters of ginger ale in there. Not to mention a shitload in the corner of my bedroom. Oh, yeah, when they were 50 cents a 2 liter, Grumpy stocked up. Yeah, they had 50 cents a 2 liter. And you could only buy 4 at a time. So what I would do, I would get half of my grocery list one day and get my 4 2-liter bottles, and then come back the next day, get the rest of my shopping list and 4 more bottles. And if I felt like it the third day, I'd go get 4 more. I think I had, let's see, 1, 8, 16. I think I had 24 or 28 2-liter bottles in the corner of my bedroom in my mini warehouse. At that price, yeah. Especially when a 2-liter bottle of pop is $3. That is robbery without a gun. At 50 cents, that's the price I remember paying back in the day. So when it goes on sale, believe me, I take advantage of it. And they know that I'm not the only one buying it like crazy, because there'll be like 200 to 300 bottles in the main aisle. Evidently he gets a deal on them. But when that deal is on, 50 cents a 2 liter, Grumpy, I'll make a special trip. I don't care. For that price, yes. Not to mention, it gives my truck a time to warm up. Get a little driving time in. Oh, I'm loving this 1 gig service. First thing this morning, I fired up the computer and did a speed check. And I was like, whoa. I ran 3. The first one came in at 975.01. And then the second one came in at 981.50. Oh. The third one came in at 999.01. I almost hit the 1,000. Now, I'm supposed to get between, they say, 900 and 1,024. That's on my download speed. On my upload speed, I'm supposed to get between 35 and 45 megabits. I'm cranking 38, 39, so I'm extremely happy. And I've run several speed checks today. It's almost like calling Sylvia. Yeah, I'll be in between YouTube content creators. I'll be like, oh, I watched enough towing and recovery. Before I switch to police interrogations, I'll do a speed check. And I'm loving seeing those 900 numbers. Oh, yes. Not to mention, I'm really happy that the technician at my internet provider locked everything into my old username and password, because I don't have to do a thing. As soon as I turn on one of my devices, bingo, I'm on Wi-Fi. And oh, am I notice it with my streaming? Yeah. Everything really loads, well, like Tony said, like lightning. No buffering, although I really didn't have much of a buffering problem. But none whatsoever. So it was well worth making that phone call, because I didn't ever know I didn't have the upgraded equipment. I never saw the email. Now, believe me, that's not an email I could miss. But they told me they sent an email. All I had to do was respond to it, and they just shipped the equipment. I never saw it. Although they did make up for their error, so I am quite happy with my internet provider. I talked to the CEO today, too. We're about that far away from the 2 new studios being completed, and whatever is behind the plywood walls. That's the only area that's like persona non grata to Grumpy. Every time I ask somebody, what's going on there? The CEO said, you don't need to know. I'm really tempted to bring in my Sawzall tomorrow. Cut a little hole in that plywood and see what's back there. Yeah, it's like top secret, big government, hands off, top secret, CIA inspected. Yeah. Nobody will tell me what's going on. Be my luck, it's a new CEO's office. But the 2 new studios, they're about that far away. I really enjoy premiering brand new studios. Because like with this one, I told the CEO, I said, this one's nice and cozy. It's perfect size for Grumpy. He said, well, you can use it. Don't get comfortable. So far, I've been using it nightly, and I'm starting to get comfortable. That's the problem. I really like it. It's a little cozy. It's about the size of 3 closets. But it's cozy. Not to mention, look at that fancy gold trimmed wood up there. They spent a few bucks in here. So I'll have 2 2 new studios to introduce possibly sometime next week. And then eventually they'll take down the plywood and we'll see what they're hiding back there. Yeah, big national secret. Oh, heaven forbid. Although I got a little birdie, and not that one. That one told me they are going to build one more studio. It's supposed to be a talk show studio. That much they told me. I guess they're leasing out studios, and some talk show host decided he wanted to lease a studio here. So they're going to add one more. And it's going to be a talk show studio. I hope it's not one of them Jerry Springer type talk shows. Ugh. Who was his security guard that took over? They gave him, after Jerry retired, they gave him Jerry's show. I can't remember his name. The bald guy. It'll come to me after we sign off. But yeah, when Jerry retired, he got the program, and it just got worse. If anything could get worse than Jerry Springer, but yeah, it got worse with his security guard taking over a show. Be my luck, that's what they'll put in right like next door. Although those are daytime shows, I don't have to worry about it. Like soap operas. Do they still run them? Do they still have that, what was it, As the Earth Spins? The Genital Hospital? There were a couple. I know my mother used to watch that, As the Earth Spins or something, whatever the name of it was. And then it was either before or after it, Genital Hospital and As the Earth Spins. She referred to them as her stories. Don't bother me. My stories are on. I'm like, oh, you own them? Yeah, it was like my grandmother in the baseball game. Oh, heaven forbid. If the soap operas were on, she would lock everybody out of the house. And if you did get back in the house, heaven forbid if you made any noise. Hey, my stories are on. Buy a TV and put it in your bedroom and shut the door. My stories. Oh, my stories are on. And oh, if she was in the middle of something, whoa. When them soap operas came on, she could be mixing cake batter. She'd drop it right there. My stories. Make a mad dash for the living room, turn the TV on. Or if she had something in the oven, it'd be burning. Smoke alarm would be going off. I'd be like, there's something burning in the kitchen. Don't bother me, my stories are on. Okay. I'm not eating what's burning in the oven anyway, so no big deal for me. Oh yeah. Come soap opera time, everything in the house ceased. You weren't allowed to even breathe. My stories. My stories. That's what you would get. If I go to walk in the living room to ask her a question, my stories, that wave off. I was waiting one day for her to have them batons that they use to bring the planes in. That way, my stories are on. That way. That way. I don't know what it is with women and soap operas. I watched a couple of them once. What was the big deal? It was the same storyline every week, except everybody that was sleeping with so and so switched partners. That's all it was. A big sleep around. Joey was sleeping with Susie this week, and then next week Susie's sleeping with Sammy, and Hildegard is sleeping with Boris, And then every comes a new week, they just change partners. And Genital Hospital, every week, one of the cast members was dying some mysterious disease. And then a week later, a miracle happened. I'm cured. I don't know what women saw in them things. I don't know if they still run them. You mean you still to this day have women that glue themselves to the TV for a couple hours watching them shitty things? I don't watch broadcast TV. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to see if they still run them stupid soap operas. And it'll really amaze me because it probably still have the same cast members. I know back in the day, between like 1 and 3, everything ceased to exist in every household because the women were glued to the fucking television sets. At least my grandmother was just baseball. She didn't watch that shit. But God forbid, baseball. Although, like I told you, she had that special notification. You walked in the house, and if the curtain was hanging between the kitchen and the living room, that's your warning. Don't make a sound because Grandma's watching the baseball game. And I loved it. She would turn the TV on and turn the volume off and listen to the game on the radio because she didn't like the TV announcer. And she had one of them 1940s RCA radios that was about 4 foot tall. And it was right next to the couch. She'd be leaning on the arm of the couch with her ear in the speaker. And the game would be on TV with no volume. Because she didn't like the TV announcer. And everybody wonders why I'm so fucked up. The whole family was dysfunctional. Yeah. I think the only sane one was my grandfather. He would watch TV, but he didn't care. Whatever was on. But they had 2 TVs in the living room. Because during baseball season, if there was a night game and Grandpa wanted to have, watch Mutual of Omaha, they would end up fighting over the TV. So he picked up a used one at a secondhand store. And he'd watch his, and she'd watch baseball on hers, leaning on the radio. Most compatible couple I ever saw. Except for Saturdays when we'd have our heathen feast. Of course, she knew every Saturday what we were having for lunch. I don't know why she bitched every Saturday. I know it was about the Limburger cheese, but yeah. We would, every Saturday, same thing. Every Saturday, she'd bitch and wave her apron. And if the weather was nice, she'd open every window, every door, and bitch about the stink. I'm surprised my grandfather didn't duck a piece of Limburger cheese in her dresser drawer or something. Oh, I would have loved that. Because he had one of them weird senses of humor. But I'm sure she'd have killed him. But I could see him doing it. My grandmother be bitching, what's the matter, Mary? You put Limburger cheese in my clothes closet. Who, me? No. And that's where it would end. I never saw them fight and argue. Never. Now, one might raise their voice a little bit, but never an argument. Never in all my years saw the two of them argue. Must have been something about married couples, back in that era. Except for Saturday with Limburger cheese and onion on rye. Then she'd bitch. Tomorrow, I will bring the netbook in. I know I wrote a note yesterday. I just want to show you the baby laptop. And that's what it is. It's a little baby laptop. It looks like something that you would buy for a little kid. A Gateway baby laptop. And that's why I've kept it all these years. because it's a gateway. Kids nowadays, they're like, gateway. Never heard of it. Well, here it is. It's a gateway netbook, aka baby laptop. And like I say, I bought it. 2 weeks later, I was going to go out and buy a computer. Out of business. Store closed. I was like, gee, good thing I bought the netbook when I did. Otherwise, I would have never had that relic. It's a collector's item. Honestly, I have never seen another gateway product anywhere. Salvation Army, Goodwill, used computer store. I've never seen a gateway product anywhere. Even on Faceplant Market Space. But I have mine, and I promise I will have it tomorrow in the studio to show you what my little baby laptop looks like. And I have to remember the endoscope. Because that's basically what I used it for. When I was working on a car, that endoscope was perfect to slide down a spark plug hole so I could inspect my pistons and the engine block. I never really used it for much of anything else. Oh, it was great if you had to work on something up under the dash and you couldn't find it, you'd hold the endoscope up there and watch the screen on the baby laptop and go, oh, there it is, buried way up in the top of the dash. As a matter of fact, you can buy them for your cell phones today. Yeah, plug it right into your charging port and use your cell phone as an endoscope. I've seen them on Temu and eBay. Yeah, they're like $5-6. They're cheap. But I'll tell you what, they work. I was amazed how well the picture came out. Because it also has an adjustable light. You can adjust the brightness up and down. And I would slide that thing down the spark plug hole and get a nice clear view of the top of my piston. And that's when I do a tune-up, I would just look. Hey, everything okay? Carbon buildup, so on. It was a great little device. And I think I paid like $6, $7. I was like, for $6, if it works like a piece of shit today, was only $6. But it was amazing how well it worked. I'll see if I can get it to fire up with the netbook tomorrow. I'll plug it in and I'll show you. I'll stick it down my throat and show you my tonsils. No. Not to mention I don't have them. The doctor removed them when I was like 5 years old. Those were the days when they still used ether for an anesthetic. I remember that because there's something about ether and ginger ale. All I know was after I had my tonsils out, I could not drink ginger ale for a week. And supposedly it had something to do with the ether. I never researched it. I just couldn't wait for that 8th day. I could glug down some ginger ale. But yeah, I remember because my parents were preaching it to me. You're not allowed to drink ginger ale. You had ether. Is it contagious? And my father would be like, yeah, smart ass. Just asking. And with that, I think it's time for our outro. Time for Grumpy to figure out what's for dinner. Now watch. Something strange is going to come up. It happens all the time. Don't want that. Something strange came up, but it didn't start playing, thank God. This is what we want to hear. Well, we know where we'll meet, right here. And we don't know when, it'll be tomorrow night. Right here, WDWL TV Multiplex, Studio G. Where's my clicker? And with that, friends, I bid you a wonderful evening, and we will meet again tomorrow night. Same station, same studio, and somewhere around the same time. And with that, have a wonderful rest of your evening. See ya.